Hey everybody, John from PSI here with today's FAQ swap series question.
Hey John, what do I do to wire my OBS for an LS or LT engine?
That's a good question. Why don't we take a look at that? So when you're doing an OBS swap, there's a few different ways to do it. Now, they're 88 to 98 trucks, but we like to separate them into 88 to 94 and then 95 to 98. And the reason we do that is the 88 to 94s had TBI, throttle body injection on them. They're much more rudimentary when it came to wiring compared to the 95 to 98s, which had a port style or central port style fuel injection Vortec engine on them. So for this video, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the 88 to 94s. So that's the throttle body injection motors. What we have here is an entire engine harness that came out of 1993 actually. They are going to vary slightly by year, but for the most part what you see here is exactly what you're going to get between those years. And this is a driver's side bulkhead connector, and then we have the passenger side pass-through. And we managed to get this entire thing out without cutting it just for this video. So on the passenger side, pretty much all the wiring that's coming out through that pass-through in the firewall is for the throttle body injection. There's one wire that you need to keep, and then the rest of the wires honestly can be removed from the vehicle. We will show you in this video later how in most of our swaps when we do these trucks, since we are going to an LS or an LT engine, we actually create a block-off plate for the passenger side pass-through. And you can do one of two things there. You can either put a bulkhead connector there. We've done that where we actually run the computer up under the dash where the factory controller was on the passenger side, or we block it off completely and we mount everything under the hood. It's really your preference what kind of look you're going for. Both ideas work, and we've done both of them in the past. So back to the harness, you can see all of this wiring. There's a lot of wires here. Going all the way in, you have your map sensors, you have your IAC, your TPS, you have transmission control, you have your injectors, you have your coil. All of that wiring is going to get removed. So now that we're looking at the truck, you can see we have the driver's side bulkhead right here. Now there's three harnesses that go into that. There's the original engine harness, which I showed you already. Then there's for the rear of the vehicle, so that's your wiring for your fuel level sender, rear lights, and your fuel pump. I do have some extra wires I've already loomed into there. One is for a brake controller because we're going to tow with this, and then the other is for the fuel pump. And over here on the passenger side, you can see we actually created a block-off plate, welded it up before we painted the firewall. And this particular one, it just makes for a really clean install. We did this on our Project Silver Turbo. And then on Project Tan Lines, what we did is we created a block-off plate, and then we did cannon plugs or bulkhead connectors so we could run the computer wiring under the dash. So again, it's up to you how you want to do it. But the nice thing about these trucks is the chassis functions are separated from the engine functions. So paring down the harness, as I showed you, becomes really easy. So now what you see here is the pared down harness. So we saw the original where it was the driver's side bulkhead and then we had the passenger side pass-through. But now we have the pared down harness. This is all that's left that you're going to need for your swap. All the rest of the wiring that we removed was for the factory fuel injection. But back to this harness, you can see as this wiring comes out, we have wiring for the brake light. This is for your brake idiot light if you lost hydraulic pressure in your brakes. Goes on the master cylinder. You have the rear anti-lock, which we're going to get rid of, but wanted to show to you anyway. This purple wire is part of that brake anti-lock. You have a ground. You have oil pressure for the factory gauges. You have your wiper motor. You have water temp for your factory gauges. You have your alternator idiot light for your factory gauges. You have your starter plug, which this one was already updated a long time ago for an LT starter. And you have a power wire. This is the wire that goes to the power bus bar that's on your firewall in the truck. This actually provides power back through this bulkhead to power everything up in the cab. Now a few notes with this. When it comes to the wiper motor, this gray wire, you can see how long it is. All of the wiper wires go through the driver's side bulkhead except for this gray wire. This runs all the way to the passenger side through that pass-through on the passenger side with all your fuel injection wiring. Not sure why GM did that, but that's what they did. So in order to make a clean install, what we do is we cut that wire under the dash, pull it back through, and we're going to reroute this back through the factory bulkhead connector on the driver's side. There's a couple ways to do this. You can either buy the terminal, or you can just take one of the other wires, which we're getting rid of the rear anti-lock brake. We're going to take one of those wires, probably this gray wire, splice it into that, and then we will, underneath the dash on the other side of the bulkhead, we will de-pin it so that way the intermittent wipers work correctly. One other thing, when it comes to factory gauges, on this particular truck, this is for our project Christina Patina, our farm truck, we're going to run factory gauges for now. So we're keeping the factory oil pressure wiring, water temp wiring, and the idiot light wiring for the alternator. So that way we can run those factory gauges. Once we upgrade to a Holley setup or a Dakota Digital setup, we'll be able to just use the OBD2 port that's part of our engine harness to get all that data, and we won't need these. But for now, we're going to leave it, and we'll show you in another video how we actually get these to work.